Hello, people of YouTube, and welcome back to everybody's favorite game show. Are they autistic? Um, yeah, maybe I will do a game show of this with some of my friends. I think that'd be pretty funny. But, so this is an autism test from embraceautism.com. I have done one of these before for a video for clinical partners, but it was too short and I didn't really like the video, so I scrapped it. However, I'm back because I think this is somewhat important. It's not that important, but I want to make this. So, one of the things that stood out the most to me is I went down. I was researching the website a little, and the willingness to take all or a multitude of tests may itself be indicative of autism. We took quite a few of them, in any case. So yeah, that's already a bad/good sign. I don't know, whatever you see it as. But anyways, we're going to be doing the AQ test, the autism quotient test. There's 50 questions. The reason we're doing this one is because it's the basic one. Now it does say that it could be outdated, and they will provide some corrections to that. But it's the basic one. It's the one we're going to be doing. So, without further ado, I'm going to click on my left mouse button and go into it now. This was made in March 30th, 2020. So I don't know if that impacts anything really, but just for context. Oh, this is important. Who is the test designed for? It is designed for adults aged 16 or up, of average or higher intelligence. Well, I am over 16 and I have incredibly high intelligence, so this is perfect. And neither of those are a lie. Probably. So welcome to the autism spectrum quotient test. That's a lot of words. For each statement below, choose one response that best describes how strongly that statement applies to you. So, first question. I prefer to do things with others rather than on my own. Definitely disagree. Rather be on my own. Now, second question. I prefer to do things the same way over and over again. So I wouldn't say I prefer to do it, but I have noticed that I always do that. It's not a preference, it's just that I do. So it just happens. So I'll slightly agree. I could probably put definitely agree perfectly fine, but I'll do slightly agree. If I'm trying to imagine something, I find it very easy to create a picture in my mind. Absolutely. It's kind of weird to think that, there are people who can't do that. That's so weird to me that somebody can't do that. Because I find that, so commonly easy. I do it all the time. Alright, number 4, I frequently get so strongly absorbed in one thing that I lose sight of other things. I mean, kinda? Slightly agree. I wouldn't say I get, tunnel vision into one thing, and then, lose track of other things. It doesn't happen often, but it has happened, so I'll just slightly agree. I often notice small sounds when others do not. Yes. And sometimes they say that they kind of think you're crazy sometimes, and then you take them to the sound and they're like, oh, you weren't lying, and it's a little odd when that happens. But number 6, I usually notice car number plates or similar things of information. Not car number plates. Never had that, except when they're funny words. Similar strings of information though, that could be anything. I'll say slightly agree because I have, just not super common, and I'm only going over car number plates because I don't know what the similar things would be, so I'll just put slightly agree because I can't say I haven't. So other people frequently tell me that what I've said is impolite, even though I think it is polite. Definitely agree. That has happened so much, and it still happens. Pretty sure it happened yesterday. But yeah. Number 8, when I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the characters might look like. Definitely agree. Number 9, I am fascinated by dates. Not really. I'll slightly disagree. I assume they mean calendar dates, which I could care less, I'm gonna be honest. Number 10, in a social group, I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. I'm trying to think of an example of when have I done this, because I've never had multiple different conversations going at the same time in a social group. Nah, there were There was this group in playing on Nintendo Switch, playing Super Smash Bros. When me and my friend were like in the corner of the room on our phones, and I was like listening to them and our conversation at the same time. So actually, yeah, I have done this, and also like from across the room in classrooms. Most of the time in school, I would sleep in the classroom though, and I wasn't like actually asleep. I just had my head down the whole time with my eyes closed, but uh, I would basically just listen to everything. So yeah, I'm very well trained in that actually. I find social situations easy. Right. I tend to notice details that others do not. Definitely agree. I would rather go to a library than a party. I would rather go to neither, but if I had the choice to go to a library or a party, it depends what I could take with me, first of all. But second of all, I'd probably go to a library, because, like, what am I going to do at a party? I'm not going to do nothing personal. Sorry if that's boring or whatever, but one's easier to handle, so. Number 14. I find making up stories easy. Definitely agree. And I'm not giving context for that. 15. I find myself drawn more strongly to people than to things. What is considered a thing? You think they consider like TV shows things? I've never heard it described that way. Or I'm gonna have to disagree though. Definitely disagree, because I'm not drawn strongly to people at all. So number 16, my favorite number. I tend to have very strong interests, which I get upset about if I can't pursue. Definitely agree. In fact, I'm doing one right now. In fact, as you're watching this video, this is one of those things. So. Number 17, I enjoy social chit-chat. Not at all, definitely disagree. Alright. Well, if it's with, like, friends of mine, then yes, but social doesn't really... And I'll slightly disagree for this one. That's probably going to mess up my score a bit, or skew it a little bit more than it should, but, you know, it is what it is. 18, when I talk, it isn't always easy for others to get a word in edgeways. Edgeways? I've never heard that word in my life. What? Alright. It isn't always easy for others to get a word in, and we'll just remove this. We'll just white out. Alright. But anyways, when I talk, it isn't always easy for others to get a word in. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I usually would stop if they start, but like, sometimes it has happened before where they can't, so you know, it is what it is. Number 19. I'm fascinated by numbers. Fascinated's a very strong word, and numbers is a very bland term. Now I'm awful at math, so I'm gonna slightly disagree, cause like, well, I'll give an example, but like when I'm looking at my analytics, my YouTube channel. 500,000 views in total. Not a lot, but it's still kind of impressive for whatever it is that I'm doing. And like 1,590 subscribers. Like imagining that in a room or compared to other people, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll say slightly agree. I'm gonna actually change my answer there. 20. When I'm reading a story, I find it difficult to work out the characters' intentions. The only like story series I've ever read was IQ. I comma Q, by the way. Like they're saying their name. It's not IQ as in intelligent quotient or whatever. But was it hard to figure out their intentions? In that story, did they even have intentions? They kinda just got thrown into it. What if we take like video game stories? Yeah, no, I don't know about this one. All of like the stories that I've ever been involved with were kind of more mysterious, and like they got thrown into it, so they never really had any intentions. It was just kind of go moment by moment, day by day. So I guess I'll slightly agree, but if there was a neither option, I would just put neither agree or disagree. Alright, 21. I don't particularly enjoy reading fiction. Definitely disagree. It's the best kind. Alright, anyways. that one was easy. 22. I find it hard to make new friends. I I never gone on my way to do it, and I guess in that case I have to say definitely agree, but I kind of want to go between definitely agree and slightly agree. It's not that bad, but like I don't go on my way to do it or try to do it, so I don't know how I feel about that one. 23. I notice patterns in things all the time. Definitely agree. If you ever take an IQ test, there's always these like pattern questions, and it's the easiest thing for me, and it makes it so much like it's very funny. Just always getting a just, like incredibly high IQ from it. They're all like online tests, so I don't know if it really cares to count. I mean, this is also an online test, so I mean, you know, maybe I'm just smart like that. 24. I would rather go to the theater than a museum. Yeah, definitely agree. It just depends what you could watch. Like, I guess Oppenheimer is the movie to go see right now. I was gonna say Nimona, but that's not in theaters. Yeah, definitely agree. It does not. Speaking of museum, actually, going back, we went to Tokyo and went to a lot of museums. Yeah, not really my thing, man. Alright, anyways. 25. It does not upset me if my daily routine is disturbed. See, this one is questioning because it slightly does depending on what changes it. Because when I went to Tokyo, obviously my daily routine, we went with the EF tour, so it was an itinerary and we did stuff like all day, every day. But it didn't really upset me because first of all, it's Tokyo, and second of all, it's pretty cool stuff that it's all free. Also, I bought a lot of clothes from there, so that was nice. But I mean, it didn't upset me at all. But like at my house, if my routine is disturbed, then it's very upsetting. So I don't know how to feel about this because I think it's just depending on what the upsetting thing is. Upsetting thing. I was gonna say upsetance. All right. Well, I'll say slightly disagree. Slightly disagree. It does not upset me if my routine is. I'll say slightly disagree. It's just very dependent. Is my answer. Oh, by the way, that marks the halfway done portion. So only 25 more questions to go. Hope you're liking the video so far, and if you are, hit the like button and subscribe too, please. Thank you. Alright, I usually say it to the end of the video. I'm so sorry. 26. I frequently find that I don't know how to keep a conversation going. Definitely agree. Yeah, like I just run out of things to say. Sometimes I just say like something completely random that makes no sense just to try. But it's just you do run out of things to say, or at least I do. I don't know. Anyways, 27. I find it easy to read between the lines when someone is talking to me. Alright. I I was just thinking in my head, I was just gonna say, bro, I don't even know what that means. And then that means that I can't read between the lines, is what I realized. So I literally can't. But I'm assuming it means like, oh, you know what their true intentions are. They like, you know how they feel about you. But I didn't even know what this meant for like a while, so I do not. I'm gonna say slightly disagree. It just takes time to realize, but it is what it is. 28. I usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than the small details. See, like, what does that mean? Can we get a better example of that? I'll use an example here for myself. The Great Wave of Kanagawa. Alright? This is the example I'm going to be using. So, you have the wooden rowboat with people like falling off in the middle. You have Mount Fuji in the background. And you got the giant wave. Whenever I look at this picture, I do not care about the people of the mountain. I do notice them, and I do look at it. But, like, the cool aesthetic of it is the waves. So, I don't know how to answer this question. I'm going to say slightly disagree, because, you know, I did notice the rowboat stuff in the Mount Fuji, but also this, I mean, it's not really a good picture look at small details, because there's not a lot going on in it, but I'll say slightly disagree for that reasoning. If I could say neither, I would say neither. Number 29. I am not very good at remembering phone numbers. Definitely agree. I cannot remember phone numbers. Which I know this is like the anti-autistic thing, because remembering strings of numbers is kind of like a big. It's not a big deal, but it's part of it. But like I'm so terrible with numbers in general. Math, phone numbers, calculator, just numbers is awful for me. Which I'm not sure if this actually, if the autism thing may relate to it or not, but whatever. I'm pretty sure it counters it, but not very good at remembering phone numbers. Definitely agree. Alright, number 30. I don't usually notice small changes in a situation or a person's appearance. Don't usually notice. I notice these things quite often. The small changes in a person's appearance, what I usually notice. Small changes in a situation, I'm not entirely sure what example I would have there. Alright. I know how to tell if someone listening to me is getting bored. Kinda? I mean, they make it pretty obvious, I feel like. So I'll slightly agree. I find it easy to do more than one thing at once. Definitely agree. I do that all the time. In fact, I'm doing it right now. You don't get to know context of that, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. 33. When I talk on the phone, I'm not sure when it's my turn to speak. It's when they go quiet. I'll slightly agree because I can't say I've ever even thought about this. Alright, 34. I enjoy doing things spontaneously. So here's the thing. I know this is counter autistic, but there's this ADHD test that I did for a video. I wanted to do like all the disorders tests on clinicalpartners.com, whatever. That way I could just make like videos out of it, and I scrapped every single video. But on the ADHD test, I don't have ADHD, self-diagnosed anyways. And okay, so it shows you your results out of 8. There's like 5 different categories, and it's all out of 8 points. I got like 1 out of 8, 2 out of 8, 1 out of 8, 2 out of 8. And for impulsivity and spontaneous or whatever, it's impulsivity is what it's called. I got like a 5 out of 8. It was like my highest score. I have very impulsive traits apparently. So, which is apparently very against autism, but everything else I have is pretty like it correlates well with being autistic. So this is like the one standout thing is the spontaneous stuff, which is so odd that there is just like that random variable out that's just standing out. But it's kind of cool. So 35. I'm often the last to understand the point of a joke. You know, I don't know. Sometimes it takes time, right? But like other time, I'm pretty quick-witted, you know.
So quick-witted.
Alas, I admit it.
I'll have to slightly disagree, but I would say neither if I could, I guess. 36. I find it easy to work out what someone is thinking or feeling just by looking at their face. Definitely disagree. Cannot do that. It's always by tone of voice. 37. If there is an interruption, I can switch back to what I was doing very quickly. Disagree. Slightly disagree, or definitely disagree. Slightly disagree, probably. If it's a physical thing, I could easily switch back. If it's like a mental thing, or like just mental thing can also be like computer stuff, but if it's that, then it's a definitely disagree. So just gonna say slightly disagree, because the physical thing's really easy to get back to, and they might be talking about that. 38. I am good at social chit chat. I swear they already asked this question. Oh, good at it, not enjoy. Good. No. Definitely not. I'm just like running all the scenarios in my head of the stuff I've done before, and no. There's not a chance. I can't even say slightly disagree. 39. People often tell me that I keep going on and on about the same thing. Yeah. I don't know if it's definitely, though. I'll talk about the same type of thing a lot, but different things about the same thing. I like the biggest example I'm thinking of right now is like I would have told them something like 2 days ago and then said the exact same thing again to them like today, I guess 2 days later, and they'll be like, "Why are you telling me this again?" I'm like, when did I tell you ever?" That may just be a bad memory thing, but it's happened, so. 40. When I was young, I used to enjoy playing games involving pretending with other children. Uh, Pretending, yes. Other children, not so much. Only half of this is true and half of it is wrong. If it's a half and half, then it's not agree or disagree. I'll slightly agree because yes, but also no. So that's. I feel like it's counter too. I feel like if you enjoy playing pretend games, that's more on the autistic side. But if you're doing it with other people, then that's more on the not autistic side, neurotypical side. So that's such a odd question for this type of test. It's like a counterbalance. Alright, 41. I like to collect information about categories of things. So fun fact, I have a Discord server dedicated to saving pictures from my gallery of over 16,000 photos. Just because I want to use them for other things, like for instance wallpapers on my phone or profile pictures for things. So yeah, I guess so. Definitely agree. I find it difficult to imagine what it would be like to be someone else. Whenever I think of what it would be like to be someone else, I think of being completely exactly myself with a different body. Like that's the only way I can see it. So I don't know. Does that mean it's difficult? I find it difficult to imagine what it'd be like to be someone else. Like in their mind space and their personality and what they do. Yeah, absolutely, definitely agree. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I guess I'll definitely agree. I like to plan any. Well, actually, let's go back to this one. Because it doesn't have to be a real person, right? Does it? I'm going to slightly agree on this one. I feel like there is some nuances to this I'm not thinking about. 43. I like to plan any activities I participate in carefully. Absolutely, definitely agree. Yes, very much. What's the saying? Prepare for the worst. That way you can only get the best or something. You know what? I'll look up that quote and I'll put it right here for you. All right? Because I'm not gonna go search that up right now when I'm almost done. But it's something prepare for the worst something. So, anyways, number 44. I enjoy social occasions. Definitely disagree. That's an easy one. 45. Only 5 questions left. I find it difficult to work out people's intentions. Slightly agree. I can't say I have any example of this that's ever happened to me. So it's a neither again, but probably slightly agree. 46. New situations make me anxious. Everything makes me anxious. Ugh. What does a new situation count as, though? Yeah, I say definitely agree. It's like, yeah, everything does, so. I enjoy meeting new people. Definitely disagree. Alright, cool. I am a good diplomat. Definitely agree. Slightly agree. 49. I am not very good at remembering people's date of birth. I'm trying to think if I know anyone's birthday. Oh, I know one. I know 1 out of 50. Yeah. I'm not very slightly agree, I guess. It's gotta be more than slightly. It's definitely agree. Yeah. Memory and numbers is not my strong suit, man. I find it very easy to play games with children that involve pretending. With children, like, not this part, no. Not with anybody, for that matter. But this part, yeah, that part is easy. I'll slightly agree, because it's another counterbalance question. I just don't like that. What does my score mean? Let's read this before we go on. The AQ doesn't really offer much insight into specific autistic traits, as it only outputs a single score. Any scores of 26 or greater indicate the presence of autistic traits. The higher the score, the more autistic traits you have. 78.3% of autistic people scored 32 or higher, whereas only 2% of controls do. I don't know what a control is. So scores of 32 and above are particularly significant. The IQ is particularly sensitive in distinguishing between autistic and non-autistic adult females. What? That's such an odd target. As 92.3% of autistic females scored 32 or higher compared to 1% of the control group. Uh, do note that no single test is conclusive, and not every autistic person necessarily scores above the defined threshold in each test. If you score low in the IQ test but still think you be autistic, try taking a few other autism tests. Yeah, autism is it's on a spectrum, so like you could be autistic but also completely ace this test by getting a 0. Okay, well, probably not by a 0. That would be insane, but everybody lies somewhere on this spectrum. I probably have a color spectrum here, and mine is probably higher than average is the thing. Alright, let's do this. Score. Oh my god. Remember how it said a score of 32 or higher is above particularly significant and means you are like guaranteed autistic? I got a 34. I personally think that's good. I like having the right to say that I'm autistic. I think that's really fun. Funny, at least. Also, just the community with it's great, but wow. I was really expecting to not get that high a score, because I put in I can't do numbers. My memory ain't that great, and whatnot. But I still scored insanely high. Oh my god. I mean, from the clinical partners test, I already took like 3 autism tests, and they all came back as like, yeah, you're pretty much already guaranteed autistic, but you should go see a doctor or something. Which I really don't want to do, because that can be anxiety-inducing for one, but for two, like, that could seriously be dangerous. I know in the UK there is some places that, like, if you get tested for autism or something, like, depending how bad it is, like, sometimes you're not allowed to own a house. That might not be the UK, but it was somewhere, and it's like, if you're autistic, you're not allowed to own your own house or something. That's insane. So I never want to get diagnosed with autism from, like, a doctor or anything. Self-diagnosis is all I really am willing to go as far as to do, because it's genuinely scary and could be life-ruining. Also, fun fact, being autistic of any sort counts as a disability in job applications for some reason. I found that out yesterday. But yeah, 34, that's really high. Are these all green, by the way? I'm just pretty curious if there's like a bad answer. Alright, yeah, they're all green. Yeah, 34 is crazy. That's very far above average. That's alright. Well, if you're looking for an autism assistant that I can offer help, yeah, I'm not doing that. I already said why I'm not doing that. Oh, sorry. Let me move my squeaky chair. Alright. That's gonna be the end of the Are They Autistic game show. Depending on how well this video does, I may get some other people on to do these tests and see if people I know are potentially also autistic. And I know autism and ADHD have a lot of overlapping things, except for impulsivity, which is like the one standout thing I have. But like I said earlier, I took clinical partners tests. I do not have ADHD, but I do have autism. According to every self-diagnosis I've ever taken, in this one, which I am far greater than normal, 26 or greater indicates the presence of autistic traits, and 32 and above are particularly significant, and I have 34, so yeah. In today's episode of Are They Autistic, you found an autistic person, and they're the owner of the channel, Linthios. So, yeah, hope you liked it. Goodbye.